So with the Clone Wars being over, the next question is, what are they going to do with Ahsoka? And we know she's going to be in The Mandalorian Season 2, even though it hasn't been exactly confirmed, but it's going to happen. But there's more to her than that, and I think she's going to get her own live-action series, and I think they could do some really cool things with her. So now, there's a couple things in her own live-action series that I think have to be there. And as a overall Star Wars fan, if they're not there, I'm going to be a little bit upset about it. And they both have to do with Anakin. First off, Ahsoka has to meet Anakin's children. If the live-action series happens around the same time as The Mandalorian, this means it's about 9 ABY. Luke's probably just starting to get together a new Jedi Order, Leia's helping to build the Republic, and there's about a 4 or 5 year old Ben Solo running around. There's a couple ways that Anakin could be brought back into this. First of all, we could see an Anakin's Force ghost actually come to her and let her know that, hey, I was brought back to the light side. The good thing about this is, as a Force ghost, Hayden Christensen could play the character, and I don't think that they would have to do much, if any, de-aging, because they could do any kind of, if it didn't look right or whatever, they could just, whatever they're going to do to make him a Force ghost, they can make the adjustments there. This would be kind of emotional because I think Ahsoka, even when she was fighting against Vader in Twilight of the Apprentice, she still believed that there was good in him. And to find out that she was right, I think it would be absolutely amazing. Within this conversation, there's something else that could come up. At this point, you could tell her that me and Padme did have 2 children, Luke and Leia. Ahsoka, at this point, probably would have heard about Luke Skywalker, probably would have assumed that that was Anakin's child. And I think the galaxy knows that Luke and Leia are brother and sister at this point. So she would probably also know that Leia would be Anakin's child too. So I don't know if that would really necessarily need to be part of that conversation with the Force Ghost. Maybe Ahsoka could actually ask Anakin if that's his children. But really, with this Force Ghost encounter, I don't know that any of that's important. I think the most important thing is for those two to reconnect, and for Ahsoka to find out that when he died, that he was on the right side. And of course, the other thing that needs to happen is that Ahsoka needs to meet Luke and Leia. I think this would involve Ahsoka actually tracking them down and finding them. To get the biggest bang for the buck, I think that it would have to be in a setting where Luke and Leia are already around each other, so she can meet him at the same time. I think that would be the best situation. There could be a little bit of distrust in the beginning, because maybe Luke and Leia don't know that Anakin had a Padawan. It's possible that Anakin in ghost form talked to Luke and said, hey, I did have an apprentice, and she's going to be seeking you out, but I think if you're going to try to add some drama to that scene, I don't think you go that route. So there would have to be something in there where Ahsoka would have to prove to them who she is. But in the end, I think that would be a success. I think that they would realize the connection that they had together. I think that there would be all kinds of stories from Ahsoka talking about Anakin. And not only Anakin, but Padme also. And I think it would just be such a feel-good moment. Now, depending on whether or not Anakin did talk to Ahsoka before this, and did let her know that he had turned back to the light side before he died, I would kind of determine what happened next. And in some ways, to be honest with you, I kind of hope that the Anakin Force Ghost thing happens after this, because I think it would be a magical moment for Ahsoka to find out that Anakin turned back to the light from Luke. Because as Ahsoka's talking to Luke and Leia, telling them all these great stories about Anakin when he was a Jedi, in the back of her mind, she's got to be wondering, do they know? Do they know what their father became? Luke and Leia at this point are really holding on to that secret. The galaxy doesn't know. Only a few select people know that Anakin and Vader were the same person. It isn't until later in Bloodlines, the novel, that the galaxy finds out that Leia and Luke were the sons of this genocidal maniac. But at some point, Ahsoka, I think, would bring up the conversation. And once Luke and Leia realize that Ahsoka already knows, I think that's when Luke, when he feels the pain inside of Ahsoka when she's talking about this, talking about how this great man, this master, this friend turned to the dark side, I think that Luke would absolutely let Ahsoka know, hey, I was there. I was there at the end when Vader died. He turned back to the light. He saved me from the Emperor. He died as Anakin Skywalker. And I think that this would just be such a magical moment. All the pain that Ahsoka had been holding inside, I think she'd be able to let all of that go. And I think that the bond that those three had together would be something special. But anyways, if there is an Ahsoka live action series, and I think that there will be, what are some of the storylines you would like to see be part of that? Do you think we absolutely have to have some closure for Ahsoka with Anakin, either in Force Ghost form, or maybe her having a conversation with Luke and finding out that Anakin turned back to the light side? Are there some other things that you'd really like to see in that series? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, that really helps the channel. Have a great day, and may the Force be with you.